Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech. Oh, Cowboy Control.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. And thanks as always for making us your first listen. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase with the only Chris level. I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you. And with another win in the rear view for Grant McCasland and the Red Raiders, their third in as many tries, this one over the Wyoming Cowboys. And man, it was a cruise control kind of night, with all due respect to Wyoming. I guess there was a little drama in the first, I don't know, about 180 seconds or so. A couple shots fall, and you're like, okay, here's something. And then, va-va-voom, the Red Raiders take off. They never look back. JT Toppin close to a double-double in the first half, eventually gets that. I want to get to the return of some point guards with you and what you saw, kind of the impact of Elijah Hawkins and Christian Anderson being available for the team and themselves, obviously, overall, kind of what that looked like. But was a comfortable 96-49 win for Texas Tech from United Supermarkets Arena, and I'll take a whole lot more of that.
Yeah, and I think everybody would have agreed really on both sides of this deal going into this one. This was probably the best team that the other team would have faced. I think you know, we indicated that on the broadcast last night, but I think, you know, Texas Tech certainly felt that Wyoming would be the best, and I just wasn't expecting the lopsided result. It was almost free tacos or free whatever you give away whenever you get to 100 points for somebody. But it was
Lubbock out of tortillas right now, so no free tacos or burritos this week. But yeah, you're right.
Accurate. I don't know if they give anything away, but a lot of places, you know, when you get to 100 points, it's like everybody gets a free pizza or tacos or whatever it is. You do end up making 10 threes in the game. It's funny because those were, I don't want to say quiet, but that wasn't why you won by, you know, nearly 50 points. A lot of times you can just shoot teams and obliterate them from behind the arc. This one was what you were able to do with creating turnovers and then punishing the opposition after causing it, and it was a bit different of a recipe that I think we had not seen yet. And I think, I don't know, you know, Wyoming comes into this deal last night. They've got a bunch of new pieces, like a lot of teams do. But it's a new coach in Sundance Wicks. He obviously took over for Coach Linder, who's now on Grant McCasland's staff. And so I can only imagine what Coach Linder was going through leading up to this game and during it. You know, like probably surreal for him, probably, and then probably thinking, oh, we better not lose this one, because that's the only reason why this thing was scheduled. Is Wyoming was like, yeah, you owe us some money. We want to be on your schedule. So we got our, like I said on the broadcast, we got our ace of spades in our back pocket, and we're going to play it right now. So and it puts Jeff Linder in a tough spot. But luckily his team and Grant McCasland's team took care of business early, and you kind of put this one away early. And it really – it starts with the guy that you've got on the screen there, because JT Toppin, he's been quite the find. Yeah. I mean, and I go back to whenever they were, I don't know, you tell me. I could keep going, but you tell me, what are your thoughts through 3 games of JT Toppin so far?
As advertised,
yeah.
Brevity, the soul of wit, says Bill Shakespeare. So maybe just 2 words needed. And I honestly maybe shouldn't even say as advertised, because I don't think we've seen his best yet. So it's probably just the tip of the advertised iceberg, because I mean, this is a dude that, look, you come into a year and everybody's like, he's going to play in the NBA. This guy's going to play in the NBA. I've heard that over and over and over. And I'm like, all right, bold talk. So can't wait to find out if that's the case. And, well, he fits the bill so far, man. And it's a lot of fun to watch him around the rim. If some things turn out to be like as automatic as they look like they could be with him, I mean, look out. We're talking chance to be an all-conference kind of player. And that's what you expected. I feel like crazy even saying that for a guy that's just transferring in and coming from the Mountain West, with all due respect, another Mountain West freshman of the year, just like Darion Williams was, but different breed of cat, no doubt.
Yeah, and it will get tougher for him.
Sure.
You know, it will. He's not, you know, he's, I don't know, is he maybe closer to 6'8" than 6'9"? Is he maybe closer to 215 pounds than he is to 225? I don't know. But I could see, you know, I could see where, you know, when he goes up against bigger, more physical, taller, that's going to be, because what he's doing now against this kind of competition is just he's making it look really easy. He scores around the rim. He affects the game on both ends of the floor. It's fun. I mean, and the jump hook, man, bring back the jump hook, because he's just got this little nifty, you know, move where he just kind of flips it up there, and it's pure, it just goes in, and those are hard to block. A lot of times.
That's why I use the word automatic. It pertains to that shot exactly, Chris, because I've just seen to this point, like, man, that's something he's got in his bag. That's just not like something he's coming up with on the fly. I wonder how many of those he's taken, you know, Monday through Friday when the lights aren't on, because that again, just one that looks like it could really be consistent for him.
Yeah, off the glass, you know, it doesn't really matter. He almost kind of throws it down into the basket sometimes. But in most cases, it takes a long defender to be able to guard that, or help side defense to be able to kind of alter a shot like that if he gets the ball, you know, in the low post on a deep post touch and is able to kind of go to work. But, you know, some of these teams are going to start to double him, and he's going to have to adjust and kick it out. But that's when it again, it opens up a bit. But I mean, it just 10 of 15 from the floor, and he's great at running the floor and finishing in the break. He's great on the low post, you know, and I just remember when the conversation was, he's in the mix and you're trying to get him and all those things. But the conversation was, this is the perfect fit for what we need.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm willing to say to you 3 games in that he's more important to your team than like a Darion Williams is. I don't know if I'm willing to go there. However, if he's not on the floor, or if he's not playing for you, and then you look up the rest of the makeup of your team, it's altered dramatically because he does fit such you know, you're on the glass and just being able to score around the rim and some rim protection, all that you just don't have otherwise. And that is that's why I would have him in a very short conversation of candidates as far as like who is most valuable, important, or whatever as we get going here, because there's not really a backup to him. I mean, I don't know who Darion Williams' backup is either, but you get the idea. These are unique players, but there's only one of each of them, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and I know you get into Big 12 play, things are going to tighten up. There's going to be learning how to play in the Big 12 as far as league contests are concerned, when it comes to like staying out of foul trouble and all the things that can typically afflict a front court guy that's going to get a lot of action. So I know we got a long way to go. We got the entire way to go, just about. Only 3 games in the rear view, but good grief, he's been a lot of fun to watch. I'm glad we're not in the position of being like, all right, well, when's this guy going to come along? Taking a little time to get his feet wet or whatever. Nah, we ain't had none of that. And I would just say, as far as the front court is concerned in general. First, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle all the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And right now, new customers can bet only $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL and a whole lot more, all in one place. So when you get a hunch, a gut instinct in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a gut feeling again, and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And I would just say, as far as the front court is concerned in general, Chris, I mean, you remember as well as anyone how thin the line was between you got something and you got almost nothing, like a void a season ago. When Warren Washington was healthy and on the floor, it's like, hey, we're living in Lob City. We're kicked back. We feel good around the rim. And then, boom, he takes a breather, or he takes like a 2-3 week breather or whatever because of injury. And you're like, man, we got nothing down there. I don't know what we're going to do whenever it comes to some size. And between guys like obviously Toppin, Cambridge back in the mix, I'm liking what we're seeing from Federico Squared early on this year. Another guy that when the Big 12 gets here, we'll see what type of role he can actually play. But just the front court situation in general has gotten me really excited early on this year, particularly given the context we just came from a season ago there.
Yeah, and Emily Yalaho is not really available yet, but I don't think he's too far away, so that you can add him to, because we saw a lot of good things from him.
Yeah,
as it came along, and I hate it because these games would be very valuable for him to just get minutes and continue to develop and all those things. But yeah, I think there's a lot that Grant can do with this team lineup wise. You can go big, you can go small. You can go very skilled. You can put a shooting heavy team out there. You can play. I mean, it's just a variety of, thing. I mean, you could play point guard with a forward, as we saw in the first two games, and all. But yeah, lots of options available. And I think it was interesting last night because we saw some unique lineups. He was. And we'll get into kind of some of your additions to your rotation, but there were some lineups that I'm looking at going, hadn't thought of it like that, but it just was nice to see kind of more folks available, because I think at the end of the Northwestern State game, they got tired. And yeah, you ended that game, I think, on a 12-2 run last Friday night, but you could just tell it's just not good for you to have to play certain guys 37, 38 minutes, especially this early. Now, that may be what it takes when you're in Stillwater, or when you're in Morgantown, or when you're in Manhattan, Kansas on a Tuesday night come January or February. I don't know. But in your own building in November, you would like to think you don't have to go to the well with some of your main guys for nearly a full game. But that's kind of what it took early on. But now there's more pieces there. But yeah, I like the position flex that Grant McCasland has at his disposal now, for sure.
Could you give me an example or something that stuck out to you as far as a combo you remember from the ball game that stood out?
Well, can we get into the point guards now?
Yeah,
because that's what it involves. Because I think traditionally, so that's the big storyline last night. Obviously, you incorporate a couple of new pieces into the equation. They're both point guards. Ideally, you start one of these guys, but instead you're bringing both guys off the bench with your big and Federico, and so you kind of go small with your tallest guy, and it was kind of a unique situation because it's like, okay, we go from no traditional point guards, and now you've got two on the floor, and they did this multiple times. But I think in a traditional sense, once Elijah Hawkins and Christian Anderson start to incorporate themselves more, I think you want to start one of those guys because it keeps your rotation normal. So where you're not having to go so opposite when you go to the bench. I mean, that's why at the first of the season, they started Kevin Overton. He was part of the starting lineup, and it was Cambridge and it was Federico that came off the bench. And as that game got going against Bethune-Cookman, you look up and go, okay, so when he goes to the bench, he can't really sub out a guard because Cambridge is coming in and Federico's coming in. Well, so it kind of throws things off. So when they got to game 2, they start Overton in place of they start Cambridge and leave Overton off the bench, and now you're more in a normal, I guess, rotation. But now it'll be interesting to see kind of what they do on Monday night when Arkansas Pine Bluff comes in here, because you're going to Brooklyn on Tuesday, and you've got St. Joe's and either Texas or Syracuse on Friday next week. And those are RPI. Those are games that are going to factor in and matter. And how because that was one of the things I thought was a big thing, is how do you adjust to your new rotation now? And now we'll see what Monday looks like. But yeah, there was some different lineups on the floor, I guess, because you were really small, you were really big, you were kind of off kilter with what it's supposed to look like. A 1 through 5, but the score and the way that they played wouldn't necessarily. But when you go against real teams and you have to match up, mano a mano here, that's where I kind of get into like what it's supposed to look like. That's why I say that.
We got to see both Hawkins and Anderson knock a couple down from beyond the arc. Hawkins he's like, I don't need a warm up. I'm going to go ahead and come out and give you 5 assists, only 1 turnover. That's what I do. And that's
in
exactly
12 minutes.
Yeah, in 12 minutes. Pretty efficient, right?
I mean, I had somebody ask me, I was on the way home last night from the game, and I had somebody text me who I trust, and he says, when's the last time you've had a pure point guard? And I'm thinking to myself, well, I mean, you've had, like Joe, I thought last year was pretty good. And, you going back to Ronald Ross, I mean, Keenan Evans is one of the best players that I can ever remember coming through here with what he turned himself into. But I think the way that the question was inferred was, when have you had somebody that's not necessarily a scoring, but like is a true, like, I'm trying to get my guys going. I'm going to play like a maniac. I'm going to play really fast, and I'm here to throw you the pass. I'm here to play, Baron Morton is what I'm here to do. I'm here to get you on the stat sheet, and I'm not trying to score and all that. I'd have to go back and just like think about the answer to that question, but he's savvy. He's not the biggest guy. I mean, we're talking 5'11", maybe 6 foot. Although I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going there. But he plays the ball low. He knows what he's working with. He plays to his strengths. He's just like, he's very handsy on defense.
Yeah.
He's very active, and I don't know. I just I got a kick out of watching him compete, man, because he emptied his bucket. But I mean, he dipped his toe in the water last night a little bit, but like, as I said, 5-to-1 assist to turnover ratio in about 12 minutes. And he's throwing, what did he throw? 3 alley-oops to Federico?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, getting steals. Because
go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I was just going to say, can we wrap it up on the defensive end of the floor? You mentioned the word steals, and man, 25 turnovers for Wyoming on the night. I think 17 of those came in the first half. Tech had 17 steals overall, 10 in the first, maybe 7 in the second or something. But I don't know if Coach McCaslin cranked this up in practice leading up to this week, but man, they were active defensively. It seemed like that intensity was turned up a notch.
Well, and that's been a concern with his team, is on the ball defense. You and I have talked about this week and a half ago, and he mentioned the name of Joe Toussaint. We missed that, and he thought Kevin Overton was his best option there coming into the season without Hawkins and Anderson being available. But I think that changes with those two available. You can just see how active they switch. They cause problems. They're very quick. I think that, because those two combined for 5 steals. And I should tell you, man, Christian Anderson, and I don't think I'm overstating here, he is the point guard of the future here. This is he's going to get to play more, but this is Will Hammond right now. Okay, this is what he is. So to kind of use our football analogy here, this is Will Hammond that is playing He's going to get to play some, but this is his spot in the future once Elijah Hawkins exhausts his eligibility. But Christian Anderson is smooth. He is going to be very, very good here. But I liked it. I like the 9-man rotation. This is a better feel for what your true team is, and now it's just a matter of figuring out what works well together, what lineups we want. I would assume that as you get going, Hawkins is your starting point guard, but Christian Anderson is going to play and going to play a lot. I mean, I think Anderson is somebody that's going to play 20 to 25 minutes a night, which is a lot. As a true freshman, but I think we even had the one-legged fadeaway like my man Dirk. I mean, that time playing for that German national team, it rubbed off, right? But I mean, he's got a bag, man.
Wurzburg, shout out.
Yes.
Yeah, he looked really good. I mean, his first shot he knocked down was a 3, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And he missed a few threes, but he's got a lot of mid-range. He's just good in transition. I think overall what Grant wants from his guys right now is
first. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Never sweat buying tickets to your favorite event again with Gametime. It's always a breeze using the Gametime app where you're going to find the best last-minute deals, and I love being able to scout out a view from any seat before pulling the trigger. Of course, you're always doing it at the lowest price guaranteed. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it begins, which means you can finish off that final brat, that final beer at your own pace at the tailgate, because Gametime is the place to find last-minute seats to any event. Gametime gives you the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets, but not just fast, also secure and simple to use. So right now, download the Gametime app and create an account and use our promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today for last-minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed.
I think overall what Grant wants from his guys right now is more connection on defense. I want my guys to be better on the ball. I want to keep guys out of the paint. We get, we miscommunicate a bit, and sometimes, it happened last night where it's like, there's 2 or 3 guys pointing. It's like, oh, I thought you had him, and then it's just a layup that you give up, and can't do that. The margins will be really small in the Big 12 conference. These are things that you have to work on. But yeah, man, fun one at the old arena last night. And this was, way more lopsided than I would have thought. Wyoming looked the part. They've got a lot of new pieces, like I said. So pretty tricky to try to put that together. But hey, man, Wyoming administration, you got what you wanted. You got a trip to Lubbock, and and I don't know, maybe we'll see you next year too. So because
do we have a return trip next year?
There is no trip to Laramie
okay.
at all. But I think there is a return trip from Wyoming back to Lubbock. These are all home games for Texas
if
Tech.
You want it.
That's right.
I thought I saw Tech as like a 20 or 22 point favorite, and then they go for a 47 point margin. So above and beyond, I guess, is what we'd say. So you got Arkansas Pine Bluff coming up next Monday before you are on the road to Brooklyn. And we'll get fairly serious in Brooklyn for a little non-conference action. So looking forward to that one.
Very much so. Yeah, and the Golden Lions of Pine Bluff from the SWAC, not very good. 1-3 on the year. They'll play Incarnate Word on Saturday, and then they'll be in Lubbock and playing a game on Monday. So they're kind of one of these teams that just got to get on the road. They've already gotten housed by Cincinnati. I believe they lost to South Florida earlier this week. Yeah, it's a bit tricky for some of these teams. But again, it is more opportunity for you to work on chemistry and your rotations and kind of what works well together. Because if you think about it, you've got a nice little off weekend here, if you will. But you play Monday, and then you get on a plane and you go to Brooklyn, and you're on the floor at the Barclays on Thursday night. Like that Monday to Thursday is a quick turnaround, and you like, man, why was it scheduled that way? But I think it's because Pine Bluff is probably not great, but that's just the way it worked. Anyway, I liked what I saw. I think there's more to come, and the tests will get much, much tougher pretty quick. But 3-0, man, pretty good.
Feels good. You got a Monday to Thursday, and then you got a Thursday and Friday nighter next week. So it'll get really busy, and looking forward to all of that. We'll be right here to discuss it for better or worse on Locked On Texas Tech. Chris, enjoyed it as always, man. Thanks for the time.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Cowan, and thanks for everybody for watching. Please subscribe and for watching these Locked On Texas Tech vids that we bring you on a daily basis. But with that, I bid you farewell, folks.
Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. We appreciate the time as always. Thanks especially to those everydayers for being out there once again. For Chris, I'm Casey, and we hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.